Under the bright lights of the America's Got Talent stage, a nervous Filipino teen stood clutching a vintage microphone, his fingers trembling slightly. His name was Rafael Cruz, a 16-year-old from a small fishing town in the Philippines. He wasn't there for fame or fortune, he was there for his father. The old man had raised him single-handedly, singing Elvis Presley songs every night while fixing nets by candlelight. "Music will keep your soul alive, son," his father would say, his voice cracking like a vinyl record. When his father fell ill and could no longer work, Rafael made a promise: "One day, I'll sing for you, Papa, and for the world." Now, standing before Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, Heidi Klum, and Howie Mandel, Rafael took a deep breath. The crowd had seen hundreds of singers before, but there was something about this boy, barefoot, humble, and holding a tiny rosary around his neck, that silenced the audience before he even began. Simon leaned forward, studying him. "What are you singing today?" he asked. Rafael smiled softly. "It's an Elvis song, sir. My father taught it to me." A murmur swept through the audience. "Elvis again?" But then, as the first note left his lips, the room changed. The melody of "Can't Help Falling in Love" floated through the air, rich and haunting. It wasn't just mimicry, it was as if the soul of Elvis himself had been reborn in that young boy. His voice carried the same warmth, the same ache, but there was something deeper, something personal. With every word, he poured out his love, his gratitude, his pain. People began to cry quietly in their seats. Even the camera operators slowed, afraid to break the spell. When Rafael hit the final note, a tremor of silence filled the studio, followed by a thunderous standing ovation. Simon's eyes glistened. "You sound exactly like Elvis," he whispered, voice breaking. "But what makes you special is that you sing with your heart, not your ego." As the crowd cheered, Simon pressed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rained from above as Rafael dropped to his knees, covering his face, overwhelmed. In that moment, he wasn't just a contestant, he was a son fulfilling a promise. Backstage, while others celebrated, Rafael stepped aside and called his father through a video chat. The screen flickered to life, showing a frail man in a small, dimly lit room back in the Philippines. "Papa, we did it," Rafael whispered, tears streaming down his cheeks. His father smiled weakly. "I heard your voice, son. You sounded just like him." Then his father added, almost as a whisper, "But you sang better, because you sang for love." Overnight, Rafael became a sensation. The video of his audition racked up millions of views, with comments flooding in from around the world. "I felt my late father through his voice. This boy reminded me of what pure talent feels like. He brought Elvis back to life." But amidst the fame, Rafael stayed grounded. Every dollar he earned, every gift he received, he sent back home to support not only his father but also the families in his village. He paid for the local children's school supplies, rebuilt old boats, and even funded a small music program in his hometown. When journalists asked him why, he said simply, "Because someone once believed that music could feed the soul, and I'm just passing that belief forward." Months later, during the live finals, Simon invited Rafael's father to the show. The old man, thin but smiling, was brought to the front row in a wheelchair. As Rafael walked on stage, he spotted him and froze for a second. "This one's for you, Papa," he said softly into the mic. He began to sing, "If I Can Dream," another Elvis classic filled with hope and longing. This time, the performance wasn't about impressing the judges, it was a prayer. Every lyric, every tremor of emotion carried his father's love, his country's spirit, and the dreams of every child who had ever been told they weren't enough. By the end, Simon and the judges were in tears. The audience erupted, chanting his name. But Rafael didn't see the lights or hear the applause. He was looking at his father, smiling, crying, clapping through trembling hands. That night, Rafael didn't just win the competition, he won the world's heart. A few months later, after the whirlwind of fame had settled, Raphael returned home. The village greeted him with open arms and music in the streets. His father, now healthier thanks to proper treatment, watched as Raphael set up a small music school in their town. "You kept your promise," his father said, hugging him tightly. "No, Papa," Raphael replied with a smile, "we kept it together." Years from now, when people remember the moment the golden buzzer turned gold for real, they won't just remember a boy who sounded like Elvis. They'll remember a son who sang for love, a voice that healed, and a reminder that greatness isn't about being famous, it's about making others feel seen, heard, and loved. And somewhere in that small fishing village, as the sun dips below the sea, the faint sound of an Elvis song can still be heard, carried on the wind by a boy who once believed that music could change the world. Moral: true greatness doesn't come from sounding like a legend, it comes from singing with the heart of one.